Wall and ceiling panels could not be easier to fit for a low-maintenance, practical, stylish finish. Start with the ceiling first. Measure carefully before cutting the panels to length. Panels can be cut to length using a fine-toothed saw or, like we're doing here, using a sharp Stanley knife. Use a generous amount of adhesive on the back of the panel. And then screw, staple or pin through the tongue every 30 centimeters into the plastered surface. There's no need to drill or use Rawle plugs. Continue this process for the remainder of the ceiling panels. They'll slot neatly into place thanks to the tongue and groove edge. For a watertight seal around a bath or a shower tray, we advise using the CladSeal kit, which contains everything you'll need for a neat finish where there's no silicone exposed. It's a great way to avoid unsightly mildew growth or silicone discoloring over time. Measure from the corner of the bath to the end on both sides. Cut the CladSeal strips to length and mitre for the corner with the mitre block provided. Test the cut strips in position to ensure they fit correctly. Wipe the surface of the bath with the alcohol wipes. Fill the underside of the CladSeal strip with the silicone and level with the spatula. Run a bead of silicone along the surface of the bath and along the wall. And fit the CladSeal strip to the surface of the bath so the bead of silicone on the bath bonds with the silicone in the strip to create a watertight bond. Screws can be used to secure the strip to the wall and prevent movement. Before fitting the wall panels, install the one-piece internal corner using silicone and remove any protective film from the trim. Measure from where the panel will sit on the CladSeal strip to the ceiling and cut the panel to the correct length. Remove any protective film and apply adhesive to the reverse of the panel. If you have uneven walls, additional adhesive can be used to compensate for this. Run a bead of silicone into the groove of the internal corner, then slot the panel into this for a watertight finish. Check that the panel is plumb, then use a staple, pin or screw through the tongue, which will prevent movement whilst the adhesive sets. Run a bead of silicone into the groove of the first panel before slotting the next one in to make it watertight. If any silicone squashes out onto the face of the panel, remove it immediately. If you have a tiled surface, the panels can be installed directly over them. Repeat this process for the remainder of the wall. There's an easy way to install the panels around a window. Slot the panel into place and use a pencil to mark where you need to cut. For a professional finish, trim around the window with an external angle trim mitered at the corners. Use a combination of double-sided tape and silicone to fix into place. Offcuts from the panels can be used to make a bath panel for a stylish coordinated finish. The easiest way to fit the one-part coving is to remove the lip from the back with a Stanley knife and discard. The coving can then be stuck directly to the wall and ceiling using a combination of double-sided tape and silicone. Measure very carefully before cutting to the correct length and miter for the corners. It's a good idea to check that the corners fit snugly before sticking into place. A top tip for fitting the internal corners where a watertight finish is not necessary is to cut the back of the trim away and use double-sided tape and silicone and stick directly to the wall panels. Light fittings can then be installed onto the ceiling. We've used a silver quadrant to trim at floor level, using a mitered cut at the corners. To fit accessories to the wall panels, it's very easy. Simply drill and plug the walls as normal. For a striking looking bathroom that really achieves the wow factor, it couldn't be easier than installing wall and ceiling panels. They provide a stylish, practical, robust finish and are a cost-effective way to transform any room.